Welcome to Goddess on the Rise. I'm your host, Sarah Brookberg, Ayurveda practitioner and coach of literally all the things, helping women connect to their mind and body. This is your space for real, raw, and authentic as fuck conversations on healing, embodiment, and rising into your power. So get cozy, grab your mineral mocktails, take a deep breath, and let's dive in. Hello. Oh my gosh, welcome back to Goddess on the Rise. It has been so long. I know like 2024 I was very hit and miss on this podcast. And then 2023, it was kind of like the same thing. And I have talked a lot about like where I've been, what's been going on in terms of like the podcast and kind of the direction I was going and what I was struggling with. But if you're new to watching, I wanted to tell you, Goddess on the Rise started back, I believe it was either 2018 or 2019. I can't remember. But it started as a school project, actually. These darn lashes, they're like freaking from December 23rd. I need to get them a new set put on, but I don't have the time. But anyways, back to tracks, girl moments. Those happen a lot around here. But Goddess on the Rise started back in, I think it was like 2018, 2019 when I first enrolled in my Ayurveda Wellness and Integrative Medicine bachelor's degree. So weird, right? How a podcast came out of that. But one of the first classes I had to take was like some kind of media class. And the only reason why I took it is because I was like, I love social media and this might be fun. And we had to come up with like a passion project. And one of the ideas was a podcast. So I came up with a podcast and I got to work with one of my favorite teachers ever. His name is Paul Moorhead. You might know him if you're in the Iowa area. I don't know where he's at now, but I should say Paul Moorhead Jr. He was so incredible to work with. He was so helpful. He taught me how to do my podcast, how to create it, how to create a business plan for it, and everything. And I came up with the term Goddess on the Rise because I'm so attached to the word goddess and how I think before I even knew it, like that was what I pictured in my mind as my highest version of myself. And I just felt like we're always on the journey of like self-growth and like we're always trying to reach like the best version of us that we can, right? And so with that being said, I was just like, to put it all together and that's what I came up with. And it was just really beautiful for me to have this project and everybody started listening. It went crazy. Like I had so many listeners and it was such a good time. But with anything, it can be really hard to keep up with, especially when it's like something that you're doing for free, pouring a lot of time, energy, and resources into. So it was really, really great. And then I kind of fell off for a little bit. And that's okay. It happens. Life happens. Um, I'm a military spouse, in case you don't know, so I feel like constantly moving around and everything like that leads to like a lot of like what is the first thing to go during those moments, and for me it was my podcast, unfortunately. But I am now in a space where I can be back and stay back, and I'm so excited for that. I have about a million different topics that I want to talk about, and not to mention I have some really incredible podcast guests that I will be interviewing and bringing on to the podcast. So if you are new here, Goddess on the Rise is all about being real, raw, and authentic as fuck, and also just kind of showing up in that way. And I at first really wanted to like show up with my hair and my makeup done and just really feeling so beautiful. And then today I felt such this urge to like create an episode. And I was like, oh, girly, you're looking rough. And you know what? That's the whole point of my podcast is to be so real and raw with you guys and authentic. And this is what I look like 24/7. Like I don't get dressed up and do my hair often. I work from home, you know what I'm saying? So I'm having like some crazy breakouts. My lashes aren't done. My hair's in a messy bun. I have that post massage like glow on me right now. And that is just where we're at. So before we get into today's episode, um, one thing that I want to share with you is I have a mineral mocktail guide on my website. It's very cheaply priced. And every single time I do a podcast, and if I don't stand to this, call me out, help me be accountable. But my goal is to share with you a mineral mocktail recipe. So today I have one right here for you. Cheers to that. And in my tagline, I even have on my like tagline, and you probably heard it at the beginning of this episode, but it's so cute. I just love it so much. I came up with this myself, by the way. Where's it at here? Oh yeah. So get cozy, grab your mineral mocktail, take a deep breath, and let's dive in. I'm like, that's so cute. Grab your mineral mocktail. That's so clever of me. Pat myself on the back, pat myself on the back. But anyways, so I want to share with you a mineral mocktail recipe because I have a mineral mocktail guide. And if you haven't seen the cover photo of Goddess on the Rise, it's me with my coffee and my mineral mocktail and all my supplements. And I just feel like that's real life, right? Like I'm just juggling so many different things. And I know you are too, right? And it's like, how do you find the balance of that? So for today's recipe, it's super simple. This is pomegranate juice and sparkling water with a squeeze of lime. And then this is just a candied orange. I just put this on here for garnish because I think it looks so beautiful. My Grammy made them. And this was a lot fuller, but I've literally been drinking it because it's so good. The lime helps balance out the sweetness of the pomegranate juice. And then the sparkling water just kind of makes it a little bit more fancier, gives a little bit of bubble to it. If you are a girly with PCOS and you're worried about drinking a juice because of your blood sugars, I want to tell you to pair this with a protein and a fat and a fiber, and that will help a little bit. So Costco has these amazing salmon packs. My girlfriend Gabby introduced me to them, and it is like salmon and these little rice crackers and then some like lemon, dill, chive, herb dip or something. And that is a really great source of omega-3s, which are so important, especially if you are dealing with any kind of reproductive issues. And then it also has some great protein in it. So like do something small like that with a juice. Then that can be a really great structured snack. If you're a girly that has POTS disorder, add in a pinch of sea salt. Help you. This is giving you great potassium, calcium, and then you can also add a little bit of sodium to it as well. So cheers to that. And let's get started. Welcome back to Goddess on the Rise. I'm literally so happy to be here with you today. And I want to talk about something that actually has been on my mind for a hot minute. It's been super interesting because I did not know what I wanted to talk about on like my comeback episode. I think I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to make it something so big, like, oh my gosh, like it's here, it's back, and like now I have to deliver. And of course I'm gonna deliver valuable content to you. I always do, let's face it. But it's just kind of like my own like little like, ooh, like confidence issues when it comes to that. It's really funny, not like funny haha, but one thing I'm working on in therapy, I'm moving my thing around because I'm trying to get to my notes here. Okay, there we go. We got my notes up too. Um, I have all of the body confidence, right? Confidence in my business. Now we're still working on that one. That one is a little bit tough for me sometimes. So, just being completely honest there, sometimes I'm like, I tend to over deliver, and that's something that I'm working through. But yeah, let me look at my notes here and make sure okay, so a little brief personal update. And just so you know, so I talked about Goddess on the Rise being real, raw, and authentic as fuck, and it's also about helping women feel like empowered in their bodies and on their own like healing journey and feel like they have a safe place to like rest in that. And that is what I want this podcast to be for you. So in this podcast, I hope you know anywhere on my social media is that I'm super dedicated to being inclusive and making sure that you feel safe, um, especially in the body that you are in today. I'm not going to bring anyone on who's going to be talking about fat, or like weight loss or anything like that. If that is part of their personal journey, I'm going to ask them to leave that out, because I know how triggering that can be. And there's plenty of other spaces for that. My podcast just won't be one of them. So. All right, a little personal update. So, in case you've missed it, I am in Whidbey Island. I have a beautiful, booming business here called Healing Goddesses Wellness Sanctuary, um, also known as Sarah Brookberg Co. And I do all the same coaching as I did before, health and wellness and self-love and body connection, with things like somatic coaching and NLP coaching and all these fancy titles basically meaning that I can help you on deep levels with your mind and your body and get connected in those levels or in those areas. And then also bringing in a health and wellness aspect to that because I have all the credentials to do so. I have a bachelor's degree in Ayurveda wellness and integrative medicine. I am a board certified holistic wellness coach, and then I'm also a nurse, right? So the beautiful thing is I can help you read your labs. I can help you ask your doctors questions. I can help you be your biggest advocate, stand in your corner, cheer you on, tell you exactly what you need to do, what you shouldn't do, what supplements are great for you, what supplements aren't great for you, how you should eat, and also teach you how to connect to your body while you are eating. Um, so that's the little pitch there, um, life has been lifing here lately. My husband's about to go on another deployment. He's gone currently, but by the time you're watching this, he will no, he'll still be gone. He'll be back, but then he'll be gone again. So that's just military life at this point, and then he will deploy. Crazy things have happened over here. I think I told you guys about my hysterectomy. I had been bleeding for years. I did a whole entire thing on this. And so if you want to listen to that and you want to know what that story is, you're more than welcome to go listen to that episode. I get really nervous about telling people to listen to my past episodes because I'm wondering if they're a little cringe. And also I live in a constant state of cringe. Like I'm a 31-year-old on social media on TikTok. There's a level of cringe to that. I think I really don't care. I don't think that about other people, just saying out, but like I feel like a lot of other people think that about 40-year-olds on TikTok and doing these things. So I'm showing up, I'm living in the cringe. I'm happy to be here. Um, and let's see what else is going on. I just have a lot of health issues going on. So I had my hysterectomy in late April, and since then it's just been a wild ride. I found out that I have stomach ulcers. I found out I have eosinophilic esophagitis. So basically, if there is certain food that I have not an allergy to, but allergic reaction to, or like I should take that back. It's an inflammatory reaction. My throat kind of like closes. This is why it's hard for me to like eat certain foods and why it's hard for me to drink things. I can't chug things like a normal person, and it's because literally my throat will close. I'm supposed to have it like dilated every couple months, and I have not been doing that because I not a fan of that. And then yes, I have multiple stomach ulcers. I have something called small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, which has been the hardest thing for me to like heal, even though I'm working with all the right people for that. And that is mostly because I am at a really high state of inflammation. And I'm at a high state of inflammation because I had some food allergies I was unaware of. And then I also have an inflammatory disease called endometriosis. And that's just kind of how life is. So I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. I do sauna, I do vibration plates, I do castor oil packs. I have pomegranate juice, by the way, why I picked pomegranate juice. It's really great for Akkermansia bacteria in the gut, and that's something that I personally need help with. And I have very low levels of that. And so I'm doing all the things. I am moving my body. I am eating extremely, I hate the word clean. I'm not trying to like label foods or anything like that, but I have to eat a very specific way because of the issues that I have going on. Like, um, some people would consider this a diet, and I could see the correlation of it. Um, and it's literally just because I'm allergic to so much, and I everything is very like inflammatory to my body, right? So I am in quite the area with that. It's been a long time trying to figure all this out. There's so many different layers of it, and it is hard. I'm on a lot of supplements. I'm on a lot of like different routines, and it's very stressful. And so for me, especially like with the podcast, I had to make sure that like I was in the right space to show up here. And I'm not gonna lie, I've dealt with like the most, I don't even know if it's depression, but I think this underlying issue of like I realize that I have a lot of PTSD from a lot of these issues and these places that and all these things that I've been going through and life that I've lived, right? I feel like this is a very common story for a lot of people, so it's not like I'm trying to be like woe is me, but I think that if I was being honest, that I had to really recognize like what it was that I was experiencing and what it was that I could give up so I could give myself the best chances to heal, right? And so I knew I was spreading myself so thin. And if I'm being honest, I still do that now. I'm better at saying no. I'm a recovering people pleaser. I've talked about this a lot, but so yeah. It's been a lot of moving pieces. And there was like a lot of grief I was still processing. Grief of my estranged father, who left this world in a very tragic way. Grief of my baby Mia, my dog. Grief of my organs, my fallopian tubes and my uterus. They were gone, and that was weird. I feel like there was a lot of pain from the surgery, but the emotional pain was on a whole nother level, and it still kind of comes up as you can see. And so, yeah, just a lot of moving pieces with all that. And I needed to give my time, I needed to give myself some space and some time to grieve that. So I just wanted to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming back and giving me another chance to listen to this podcast and be consistent with you and know that I love to be here. I also love to go overgive and I love free things. So this is my jam. And I am so honored that you are taking time out of your day to listen to me. Wow, that just feels incredible. And I hope you know that I love you so much for that. So thank you so much. So today's topic is in correlation to something that I just did yesterday. And it is going to be about movement. And before I lose you, I want you to know we're talking, remember that I will always be inclusive here. I'm always going to talk in a very safe manner and make sure that you feel supported in this verbiage. And if I ever do something that you're like, oh, don't like that, please share it with me. I would love to know. I will never not say that I won't mess up. I'm sure I will mess up. So if I make you feel some sort of way, please let me know so that way I can address that and fix that and repair that with you. But and I'm always open to learning more. But today we're talking about movement in your body, my body, what that has looked like, and kind of give you some tips on that. I've gave some tips before about being in the gym, but today's a little bit different. So today we're talking a little bit more about like confidence and reconnecting to your body with movement and those types of things. And um, this is coming from a very specific place because if you've been here from the beginning, when this podcast started, I was actually in an MLM called Beachbody, and I was giving out eating disorders on a silver platter to everybody, and I've apologized for that several times. You know. But with that being said, that's where I came from, and so I used to work out all the time. In fact, I kind of started in the space, and I've done episodes of this too. I overworked out a lot, and I was some days I was doing double workouts a day. My calorie intake was so dangerously low, like so scary low. And of course, no wonder why I have the issues that I have today, right? Like, talk about disordered eating, over moving my body. Like, oh, golly, I wish I could go back and hug that version of me. I take that back. I do go back and hug that version of me all the time. God, that sweet girl thought she was doing everything she should. And she was just doing too much. But I was in a very smaller body at that time too. And so movement looked a little bit different for me. It definitely was hard. Don't get me wrong, it was hard. Um, but I I had what I would call fake confidence. I could go to a workout class. I definitely felt some type of way about being at a workout class. But I felt very comfortable working out from home. And then kind of like moving on after I got out of that MLM world, I still worked out at home and I worked out at the gym and I did some fitness challenges. I paid for them with some personal trainers. And so I still had a really great relationship with movement. It was never an issue for me. It wasn't until I would say in the last couple of years that movement became extremely hard. I got to a place where I was actually bleeding so bad. These darn lashes are going to be the death of me today. I'm so sorry. But I got to a place where I was bleeding so bad that I didn't know what to do. Every movement I made was painful. I was so inflamed, and I would just like basically bleed out. Like every movement I would make, if it was like in a squat position or some kind of like little like little leg opener, blood everywhere. And I could not live like that. I was like miserable, you guys. And wow. I'm like thinking about that time. I'm like, oh God, that poor girl. It was tough. It was so tough to be in that space. And I lost a lot from it. So like I lost my relationship with movement. I stopped dancing. I loved to dance. And with that, after that, and then having my hysterectomy, it took a long time. It's still taking me such a long time to get to the other side of that again. Like I am like, so like here where like no movement, and I'm like maybe here. Like it is baby steps. It's like gym maybe 2 to 3 times a week. Now I do hike on the weekends with my husband. Like we do walk, but like my steps are not very high. And I am not someone that like worries about those things. But I know for me personally, like movement is so important for my body. So important for my body. Specifically because of like my my lymphatic system, my PCOS, my endometriosis, my Hashimoto's, like all those things need movement to keep them kind of like lower down. So it's been really hard for me to kind of lean into that. And yesterday, so I've been going to the gym. And I signed up for a 24/7 gym pass, which was amazing. And I've been doing sauna, and I've been working out with my girlfriend at the gym in the evenings. Very hit and miss, not very, excuse me, consistent with any of that. But I will say one thing that I've been pretty consistent in is doing something at least like once or twice a week, which again is not the greatest for me personally. So I'm working on that. But yesterday, I got invited to a class, and I've been wanting to go to more fitness classes, but it's always a little intimidating to go by yourself, and then always like intimidating to like not know where you're meeting at and like what to expect. And so I did go with a friend. Now I will admit that I would go to something like that by myself. Like I am that person, I will show up anyways. I might try to talk myself out of it, but I'm still going to show up like and be in my fullness, right? I know that going into these things that I'm probably going to be the biggest person in the room, and that can be a mind fuck. And so I just went in with that, and before I went into the class, I took a few deep breaths and I kind of grounded into like my space and what was around me. And I went to that class, and it was one of the hardest classes. The girl that invited me was like, yeah, that was probably one of the hardest ones. And then someone else was like, oh yeah, she was one of the hardest instructors we've ever had. And I was like, well, look at me. I modified when I needed to modify, and I just showed up for me. And instead of worrying about everybody else around me and what they were thinking or what they were doing, which by the way, I want to remind you, if you're in these workout classes and anybody's staring at you or you're like looking around like, are they thinking about me? I guarantee you, at least 90% of the time, they are not. They don't give two fucks about you and what you are doing. They only care about getting their workout done. Because I know when you think about you in a workout class, are you looking around like analyzing and judging everyone around you? Probably not. And I'm not doing that either, right? Like I'm aware, hyper aware of me, right? And how I am in that moment, but I'm not thinking about anybody else. I'm thinking about myself, right? And that's how almost everybody is when they're in a gym situation like that or a gym setting like that. No one cares what you are doing. You care what you are doing. You are hyper aware of yourself. And it's probably because of societal thoughts and opinions about ourselves and all of that. I could go down a whole rabbit hole. Take a little break, hydrate yourself right now. This is so good. So good. I can't get over it. I can't wait to make this again tomorrow. So good. I love the taste of that. But so yeah, that's kind of what I was experiencing yesterday, and it was the hardest workout class I've been to in a long time. And guess what? I did it and I survived. And I'm a little sore today, but it's manageable. And it just felt so good. And that's what I think that there's so much like vulnerability, right? And trying new things. It's like your first workout class of the year or your first workout class ever, or maybe it's your first workout class since having a baby or your surgery or whatever it is. And I want you to know that like it's okay to like push yourself a little bit while also allowing for some safety. So the way that I teach this in coaching sessions even is that like you're going to get out of your comfort zone a little bit. And when you're out of that comfort zone, come back to the body, come back into your body. So like it's like we're tiptoeing out. Ooh, that's uncomfortable. Then we're gonna come back in and we're just gonna kind of connect to our breath. Just kind of like feel into that a little bit, right? And then like when you're ready, tiptoe out just a little bit and come into that class and then come back into the body. It's called titrating, right? So you have to kind of ground in, right, before you go out and try these new things, right? Yes, you're gonna feel activated. Yes, you're gonna be like, oh, this feels edgy. This feels scary, right? And I get that. And you're not alone in that. It's so scary to try new things. And on the other side of that, once you completed it, you're like on this beautiful high that you've probably haven't experienced in a long time. And you're just like, wow, I feel really, 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 really good. And I will tell you, there was times in that class where I modified the modifier. And oddly enough, um, the trainer was like, "Yes, you modified." I'm like, "Yeah, no shit, right? Like whatever." But the whole point is that like this is where growth happens. This is where you can lean into growing that confidence and growing that safety within your internal systems and external systems, right? So it's like you're pushing yourself while allowing for modifications. You're listening to your body, and in turn, you're connecting more to your body, right? It's like the body craves this. It craves movement. At least most people I know, like if they truly tap into their body's like, girl, let's get up, like let's move, let's shake this energy off. And that's just another way to kind of connect in. Okay, I want to make sure that I'm following my outline here. Um, Another good tip for you when you are leaning into more movement or even like trying to find your confidence in the gym or trying to find your confidence in classes or whatever it is that you're getting from this, I want to remind you the mindset that I used to have was that working out was like a form of punishment. Like, oh, I'm gonna have sushi tonight, so I gotta work off those calories, you know? And now I find it as a form of like joy and a form of confidence and a form of true connection to my body and really just supportive of my body. Like now I get to move my body for having more endurance and flexibility and feeling into like, oh, that's a little place of soreness and maybe I can move into that a little bit more, or maybe that spot needs a little bit more flexibility and I can be aware of that more, or maybe this spot actually just needs a little bit of love and awareness there and I can move into that. So make sure that as you're moving into movement or you're wanting to add this to your routine, you're coming from a place of love and compassion. And if you say, like, I don't love myself or I don't know what that feels like, I want you to think of someone in your family, whether it's your spouse, your child, your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa, whoever. And I want you to think about them in your life. Do you have love for them? Do you have empathy for them? Do you have compassion for them? If the answer is yes, then babe, you can give it to yourself too. You absolutely can. And there might be resistance there, and I hear that, and you're not alone in that. But I want you to lean into it a little bit. And I want you to tell that mean girl that's coming online, like, you don't love yourself, or you're whoever's being mean to you in your head. I want you to let her know, like, hey, I see you. And I'm gonna also ask you to take just a back seat for a moment. Okay? Like, you're valid here. I know you're here. And also, I'm gonna lean in with a little love and a little compassion, right? Because we have these protectors that kind of come online and they have a specific job, right? They're here to protect us for some reason. I know that feels weird, especially if you're like, but she's mean to me. She's mean to you for a reason. So a good example of this, like my mean girl has always been mean to me because like, oh, I'm gonna say these things to hurt you so that way no one else can, right? Like I'll be mean to you. So that way if anybody else is mean to you, like it's not gonna land as much because you've already heard it from me, right? That's her purpose. So I hope that little reframe will help you a little bit. And I hope you know if you ever need deeper help with this, or if you're like, I really still feel like I'm struggling, please reach out. Like, I'm so happy to help you. I have so many different like coaching packages on many different tiers to help you, no matter what level of income you're working at. I guarantee you there's some way, some form I can help you. Okay, so let's talk about some tips for reconnecting with movement. And I want you to do one thing. Start small. So ask yourself what feels good today. Maybe it's just 10 minutes on the treadmill or the elliptical. Go for that. That is enough. That right there's enough. That's it. That's all you need to do. Maybe 10 minutes is too much. Just do five. Maybe it's 5 minutes around your house, walking around your house. Maybe it's small little things like if you're tracking your steps, getting 100 more a day. Whatever it is, start small and celebrate those little movements. That's how you build up, right? You don't have to go try a fitness class for your very first thing of movement. It could be as simple as going on a 5 minute walk. Girl, I do not care. Start somewhere. Start somewhere. And then each day build on that if that feels good. Or stay at that for a week and then build on it. You permission to start small, permission to know that that is enough, permission to be enough in that. Okay? And I know that's hard to hear because we're constantly living in a world and a society that's telling us, you are not enough. Do more, do more, do more. And I'm here to tell you, stop listening to them. They don't serve you. They don't serve your highest purpose, your highest self. And I'm telling you that your highest version of you is telling you to just start. It does not have to be some big, grand, glorious thing. And I want you to start thinking into that, like that something small can be glorious and it can be beautiful and it can be a form of connection. You don't have to go freaking hard 100% your very first day. In fact, I don't want you to do that. I want you to start so small that it is so attainable that you're like, huh, I just did that. Whoa, I'm a badass. I don't care if it's a minute walk outside. I do not care. Just start. That's it. That's all I want you to do is just start. And then slowly build on it. Okay? That way, when you do it that way, you don't burn out. And you're not so sore the next day that you can't move, right? Start small and just keep going. Keep going, right? And remember that this is not anyone else's goal, or there's no one that you have to compete with, and there's no end goal here. The whole purpose is just movement in your body and connecting with her. How did I feel about this movement? Did I like it? Did I like this workout class? Did I like the treadmill or should I try the elliptical next time? Did I like this route of my walk or should I try a different one? Did I feel safe here? Did I feel weird here? Just connect. That's it. Just ask her questions. She'll tell you. Your body has a beautiful innate wisdom. That's actually part of Ayurveda. We talk about that a lot. And the problem is that we are in a society that's constantly telling us to not trust it, to trust this person over here, to trust this influencer over here that has no idea what the fuck they're talking about. I digress, but I think you get my point. One other thing to do is to try different styles. I kind of talked about that a little bit, but there's so many amazing things on YouTube. And oh my God, I can't wait to tell you. I have something special coming. I don't know if you guys know this, but I've been getting my yoga certification. And I have something special coming out very soon, if it hasn't already came out by the time you are watching this. So, but there's so many different types of movement out there. There's tons of YouTube videos, dance videos, and they're all for free. So why not try them? And try different things. Find out what makes you feel good. Do it in the safety of your own home. If this is like your first time moving your body in a long time, just find something that feels supportive through an instructor that feels supportive as well. And if you need help finding something, please let me know. I don't get triggered by things anymore, so I can always vet a video for you before you play it in case it will, if you know, like you don't know if it'll trigger you or not. And then the biggest thing I want you to remember is that every time you do this, this is like one step towards your confidence, right? It's built every single time that you show up for yourself, that you show up in your fullness, and it's built one step at a time. Um, Okay, let me look at my notes here. Good, 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 good. Okay, got it. So I'm gonna leave you with a couple things. First one is that movement is a tool for embodiment, right? It's for embodiment and healing. It's not just for aesthetics or how you look. So for the longest time, I really got into this deep, and I was always thinking like, how do I look in my outfit to take pictures in? And I want you guys to go to my Instagram and look at the reel I just posted. Like by the time you're watching this, probably like 2 weeks ago. I am in a sweatshirt, and I'm pretty sure it has stains on it, and then a pair of freaking leggings that it's not aesthetically pleasing. It's not beautiful, and that used to stop me all the time. Like I had to look a certain way so that way I could show up a certain way. And I want you to know that that is so furthest from the truth. The whole point of movement in this way is just that connection to your body. So drop the aesthetics, stop worrying about that, and just show up for you. It's for healing, it's for embodiment, right? And let's see here. I think that is everything. So I just want you to remember if you are someone who is struggling with confidence, with movement, or just feeling disconnected in your body, I want you to just take a moment before we end this, before you hop off, and just kind of be with yourself. And maybe even notice like where's some areas of pressure, or maybe there's some areas that need a little bit of love. And maybe just kind of sit with that for a moment. We can even do this together. Taking some deep breaths and even like putting hands on where somewhere feels pressure, where it just needs a little bit more love. Maybe even just feel like the love that I'm sending out to you right now, too. And when you're ready, just slowly coming back into the room. And I want you to just see doing that every day. That's how easy it is. That's how easy it can be to connect with your body. Just ask her what it needs. Ask her what she wants you to know. And if it's a lot of mean girl talk coming online, then get into my inbox. Let's work together. I know you don't have to do this alone, and I know you need help, and I'm here for that. All right. I love you so much. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this episode was so helpful for you. I hope it gets you excited about future episodes. And I want you to know that I made this podcast for you. So I would love to know what it is that you are wanting to hear from me, what you're wanting to see, if there's anyone you want me to interview. So feel free to reach out and we will chat soon. And I will see you next week for another new episode. I love you so much and I mean it. Bye.